January 8th, 2016, 17 elite Mexican Marines stormed through the front door of a modest two-story house, grenades exploding around them as automatic gunfire erupts from within. What they don't know is that the man they've been hunting for months, the world's most wanted drug lord, is already slipping away through a secret tunnel beneath their feet. The man escaping through that tunnel is Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán. And this moment marks the beginning of the end of the most extraordinary manhunt in modern history. But to understand how we got to this explosive morning in Los Mochis, we need to go back to where it all began. Deep in Mexico's rugged Sierra Madre Mountains, in a region that would later be known as the Golden Triangle, a peasant farmer's son is learning lessons that will shape the future of global drug trafficking. The mountains here aren't just beautiful, they're perfect for hiding. Joaquín Guzmán grows up poor, but he's smart. By the 1980s, he's working for the Guadalajara Cartel, watching and learning from Mexico's first generation of major drug traffickers. What makes Chapo different isn't his size. He's barely 5'6", hence the nickname Shorty. It's his mind for logistics and his absolute ruthlessness. Years earlier, while other cartel leaders are fighting over territory, Chapo is quietly building something unprecedented, a business empire that will eventually stretch across dozens of countries and generate billions in revenue. His secret weapon? Tunnels. A case of mistaken identity changes everything. Gunmen from the Tijuana cartel, hunting for Chapo, spray bullets into the wrong car. Inside, Cardinal Juan Jesus Posadas Ocampo dies from multiple gunshot wounds. The public is outraged. The government can no longer ignore the cartels. Within weeks, Mexican authorities offer a massive bounty for Chapo. His face, previously unknown to the public, appears on television screens across Mexico. For the first time in his criminal career, Joaquín Guzmán is truly hunted. They find him. Mexican authorities arrest Chapo and extradite him back to Mexico, where he's sentenced to decades in Puente Grande maximum security prison. The media declares victory over the cartels. But what they don't know is that Chapo isn't planning to serve his time. Prison guard Francisco El Chito Camberos Rivera opens Chapo's electronically controlled cell door. The drug lord climbs into a laundry cart, and Camberos wheels him through several checkpoints and out the front door. By morning, Chapo has vanished into the night, beginning what will become a years-long game of hide-and-seek with law enforcement agencies from around the world. The escape allegedly costs Chapo millions in bribes, but for a man worth over $1 billion, it's pocket change. What follows is a manhunt unlike anything in modern history. While authorities search for him, Chapo builds his legend. Stories circulate throughout Mexico about the drug lord who travels with an entourage equivalent to a head of state, bodyguards, armored vehicles, surveillance networks, and yes, always the tunnels. Restaurant patrons tell tales of a short man entering with armed guards, confiscating everyone's cell phones, enjoying a quiet meal, then paying everyone's tab before disappearing into the night. Is it true? Nobody knows for sure. That's exactly how legends are born. Meanwhile, U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration agents are getting increasingly frustrated. Every time they track Chapo to a location and share intelligence with Mexican authorities, their target vanishes. Agent after agent reports the same story. He got out the back door. Mexico City, 2010. DEA Special Agent Andrew Hogan arrives with his family, determined to change the game. Hogan has a different approach. Instead of chasing Chapo directly, he'll dismantle his communications network piece by piece. The phone numbers don't lie, Hogan tells his team. It's a strategy that will ultimately prove prophetic. Culiacan, February. Hogan and his team have spent years mapping Chapo's organization. They've identified everyone from his bodyguards to his cooks, from his pilots to his personal secretary. More importantly, they've begun intercepting the cell phones of Chapo's inner circle. Modern technology is becoming Chapo's enemy. The same communication networks that allow him to run a global empire are also creating digital breadcrumbs that lead directly to his doorstep. February. The breakthrough comes when investigators track a cell phone to one of Chapo's safe houses in Culiacan. The phone belongs to Carlos Manuel Ramirez, nicknamed Condor, Chapo's communications chief. Mexican Marines raid the house, but once again, Chapo escapes through a tunnel beneath his bathtub. This time, however, one phone stays active. It led us to Mazatlan, a U.S. law enforcement official later reveals. Mazatlan, Sinaloa, February, early morning. Mexican Navy Special Forces surround the Miramar condominiums, a modest building overlooking the Pacific Ocean. Room: Chapo is inside with his wife, former beauty queen Emma Coronel Aispuro, and their twin daughters. When the Marines break down the door, they find Chapo lying in bed. He tries to resist, but doesn't reach for the rifle next to him. After more than a decade on the run, the world's most wanted drug lord is finally back in custody. The arrest makes global headlines. Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto calls it a victory for the rule of law. U.S. officials praise the cooperation between the two countries. But what nobody anticipates is that Chapo's most audacious escape is yet to come. Altiplano Federal Prison, State of Mexico, summer. While Chapo sits in what's supposed to be Mexico's most secure prison, his sons, his wife, and his former lieutenant, Damaso El Licenciado Lopez, are coordinating the most elaborate prison break in history. For over a year, workers have been digging. The tunnel stretches for more than a mile, from a house outside the prison walls directly to the shower in Chapo's cell. It's equipped with ventilation, lighting, and even a motorcycle on rails to transport dirt and supplies. July evening, prison surveillance cameras show Chapo pacing in his cell. Then he steps behind a wall where cameras can't see him, drops through a hole in his shower floor, and vanishes. By the time guards realize he's gone, the drug lord is already miles away, riding that motorcycle through his custom-built escape route. The embarrassment is enormous. Mexico's President Peña Nieto, who had been considering extraditing Chapo to the United States, now faces international ridicule. The manhunt begins again. Los Mochis, Sinaloa, January. For months, authorities have been tracking Chapo through intercepts and informants. Mexican Navy intelligence receives reports of armed people in a house near this coastal city. They place the location under surveillance. The breakthrough comes when someone places a large order for tacos from a nearby restaurant, picking up the order in a white van after midnight. It's the kind of detail that only makes sense in hindsight. Even the world's most wanted fugitive needs to eat. Operation Black Swan begins as Mexican Navy Special Forces Marines assault the house where Chapo is sleeping. The gunfight is intense. Cartel gunmen die, and a Marine is wounded. During the chaos, Chapo escapes through his tunnel system, emerging kilometers away where he steals a car at gunpoint. But this time, technology works against him. Federal police spot the stolen vehicle and pull it over kilometers from Los Mochis. When officers approach the car, Chapo tries one last time to buy his freedom. He offers cash, properties, even jobs. When they refuse, he threatens them. "You are all going to die." But there's no escaping this time. The hunt for El Chapo is finally over. Exactly years after his first escape, Chapo is extradited to the United States. He's flown to New York, where he'll face trial in one of the most secure courtrooms in America. A federal jury finds Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán guilty on all counts: drug trafficking, money laundering, and murder conspiracy. He's sentenced to life in prison, plus decades, at ADX Florence, the most secure prison in the United States, a place known as the Alcatraz of the Rockies. Chapo sits in solitary confinement most of the day, communicating with the outside world only through heavily monitored legal visits. The man who once commanded $1 billion empire and escaped from 2 maximum security prisons now lives in a concrete cell. He will never see freedom again. The manhunt for El Chapo lasted years and spanned decades. It involved thousands of law enforcement officers from multiple countries, cost hundreds of millions of dollars, and required some of the most sophisticated surveillance technology ever deployed against a single individual. But perhaps the most remarkable aspect of this story isn't the dramatic escapes or the high-tech manhunt. It's how a peasant farmer's son from the mountains of Sinaloa became the most wanted man on earth, only to be brought down by the same technology that made his empire possible. The hunt for El Chapo is over, but the drug trade he helped create continues, now run by new leaders who learned from both his successes and his mistakes. In the end, the most dangerous game of cat and mouse in modern history proves an ancient truth. No one, no matter how powerful, can run forever. The mountains of Sinaloa still harbor secrets. The tunnels still snake beneath the border. And somewhere in those hills, the next generation of traffickers is already learning the lessons that Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán taught the world, both how to build an empire and how to lose it all